We are live! Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show, sponsored by the Beacon Tap, Signature Transportation Group, and Mom and Dad Water. Cousin Donnie, how are we doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing well, Jim. I'm doing well. How's everything with you? I saw we have a new sponsor, by the way, since we're talking about the sponsors. I
Yes.
posted on Facebook. I think you have a new buyer. Who is that? Is that Ray Tops?
That was Ray Tops hanging out at Lawler's Bar, 25-year anniversary party last night for Shane, Donnie, Ivy, and the Lawler family. And Ray was there and just kind of trying to be a little funny with him. Told him I would post a picture of him on our lovely page. And so since we did that, I put him as our next sponsor of the show.
You got to get sponsors some way or another.
That is right.
We got to pay. We got bills to pay.
You're 100% right. We have bills to pay, and we have things to do. You know, it's getting to our point of the season and kind of this time of the year where we're always looking for new stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah. Ray was fond enough to be our sponsor, one of our sponsors for next year.
Yep, so, I want to give a shout out to the Lawlers. I know you've done our Facebook already. You posted it yesterday, but I wasn't at the event. But a huge shout out to those guys in the 25 years of business for them. That's amazing.
Yeah, so a lot of old-time customers that showed up last night that I haven't seen. Not that I get to get out to Lawler's like I used to when I was younger, but a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time last night, and it was a really good night. It was a bad day to be a Miller Lite. It was a terrible day to be pretty much a shot, if you know what I mean. We had to take a handful of shots and probably drink about a case of Miller Lite. That's probably why I have no voice.
Sounds like a good time, though. You can't expect much else from Lawlers, but that's awesome. I'm glad that event went down and everyone was out there to support. We have some things to talk about today. We've got a great guest that will be joining us. Mr. John Conenna will be joining us on the show today. We got to talk about a couple things, and then I will get into another list, which people love to talk about. We have another list coming for you guys today. But yeah, we're excited for tonight's show.
Yeah, and so before we get to the top 10 center fielders in the game, to add to our list of major players, because remember, we're putting out the full list. When we get through all the positions, we'll put the list out there. But I want to get to the December 19th tournament. You know, for those people watching and looking in, you can see the scroll on the bottom of the screen. You know, obviously sign up. Draft tournament is December 19th. Spots are going fast, Donnie. We're actually in the high 40s, I believe. 42, 48 people roughly that have signed up already. Somewhere, it was like 42. Then I think it jumped to 48. So people are moving. We had a couple more sign up today. Last year we had, I believe, 68 people. I double checked that. We had 68 people sign up last year. We had 6 teams last year. So I know that there's probably a handful of guys that I've already spoke to that say they're playing that haven't signed up. So that kind of puts us in the 50s range.
Yeah.
I know you and I are not on the list yet. So there's 2 more
I'll be on there. Yep.
Yeah.
There's 2 more.
So,
it's a great event. Are you still doing the co-ed tournament too?
You know what? I owe a call back to Mr. Co-ed himself, Chris Harrison. When I call Chris Harrison, we got to figure out what we're going to do for the 12th.
Cool. So the 12th is the co-ed. December 19th, if you guys want to play some 16-inch, there's a link on our page if you want to join. It's a random draft draw tournament. It's honestly a great time. It's in a cool dome with a bar and you know, a whole lot of fun going on there. But yeah, it's a great event. If you guys want to get out and play some ball, if you haven't in a while, it's a great time to go hit some.
And for those guys out there that night, because it's an event in the dome, we do keep the bar open a little later for the event. So it's it's a great night. You know, we do have live stream from the bar. You can watch the games that's going on in the dome. So that's another cool thing. So when you're not playing, you don't have to hang out in the dome. You could actually go in the bar and watch, you know, watch what's going on as well. So we will have a couple umpires out there that I've already spoke to. You know, we always try to get our boy Chooch, and then we always try to get Richie Hennessy. So
Danny Graff should be out there too.
Danny Graff is another one that we usually use. We use Danny Graff more for the scrimmage games and those type of things that we play out there when we play teams.
Yeah,
he is definitely our go-to on that. So so all is well, Donnie. But I'm excited about our tonight because he kind of does a little bit what you and I do, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, he uses a media platform to interview and talk about softball from the Hall of Fame perspective. He does a lot of the past players. He's dedicated to it just like we are. You know, he makes a lot of content, provides a lot of stuff for 16-inch softball. He's also a board member on the 16-inch softball Hall of Fame board, so he's got a little bit of influence in that too. So a guy that's been around softball for a while, and he'll be a really, really good interview, I think.
I do. I think he's going to have some good insight on, well, just kind of what's going on at the Hall of Fame, right? We have the award ceremony that just passed not that long ago, so maybe we'll get some insight from that on him. And then also discuss a little bit about maybe what's, you know, in the future, what's the future look like for the Hall of Fame and what they have going on. So are you ready to get John on here?
No, I'm not. I have an announcement. I have something I'd like to discuss, Jim.
All right.
Something I'd like to talk about.
What is it?
So, one of our guys who we've had on the show before, quite the popular figure in the social media game. He goes by the title of Wild Bill, 12-inch softball, you know, conference player. He's the man. Him and I see him every Wednesday.
He's dodging me for the home run derby contest. He don't want to face me anymore.
Yeah, he told me it would be no contest. He would just whoop your ass in an hour and then he would go home. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But I'm pumped for him because, you know, he puts a lot of effort into the 12-inch game. You know, he's got an unbelievable new product through Anarchy Bats. If you see, this is the new Wet and Wild Bill player model bat. So actually, an Anarchy-sponsored athlete now. Yeah, so our guy,
very cool,
Wild Bill, has his own bat now. So this is going to be on the Anarchy Bats website. It's the 2025 Anarchy Wet and Wild and loaded USSSA slow pitch softball bat. You can see there's like a bunch of little water drops.
So that when we hit, when I do the live hit off against this, maybe he'll bring that bat for me to use.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I used it on Wednesday and it feels nice. It's light. 12-inch bats compared to what we use are, you know, 10 to 7 ounces lighter than ours.
Yeah,
but it feels great.
What is that bat running for in the 12-inch world?
So I'm gonna put the link to this bat in the comments section there. It is $2.99 currently. Yeah. He offers a 25, a 26, a 27, and a 28 ounce with a half-inch end load. So a really cool product, and I'm pumped for Billy because
I think Billy also broke the world record with that bat, if I'm correct, for the fastest 12-inch ever hit off a tee.
130 miles an hour ball speed off the bat. So exit velocity speed.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, now that the announcement's over, again, pumped for Billy and his new player edition bat. This is a big deal for 12-inch guys. I mean, to have your own bat is a really, really cool feat, and I'm pumped for him. So now with that being said, we can dive into our guy, John Conenna.
Yeah, no, that's very cool from Wild Bill, and I hope that we'll be able to get in our home run derby contest live, because I know the last time I met with him, he wasn't able to shoot it live. And we actually played in a field that wind was blowing in, so it made it tough when we did it last time, but he couldn't film it. So people were upset, so I told him we need a refilm. But that's okay. We'll get that done. So Wild Bill, stop dodging me, Wild Bill. I know you're gonna lose when we face each other, but that's okay. So, but let's get over to John. Let's get to John tonight. I think John is somebody that is, I don't know if a lot of people know him in 16 in softball. I think so, right? So we're gonna find out who he is and what he's all about. So let's get him on the thing here. Let's get to it, John. What's up, John? How you doing, man? Welcome to the Uncle Jimmy Show. How are you?
All right, good to see both of you. Love what you guys are doing, listening in even tonight, and kind of thrilled when we made the connection, Jimmy and Donnie, that I was going to be on. So
so Donnie and I asked you
step of the hall.
Yeah. So we asked you to come on, well, for numerous reasons, right? But before we get to those reasons, why don't you tell everyone who you are, how you got started in softball, what keeps you going with the Hall of Fame currently, and kind of give the people the background of, why you're vested in the game.
It starts for me really early on. I mean, I'll never forget, I was in 5th grade. I was going to a local Catholic school called St. Rosalie's at Oak Park in Montrose. They had a softball team, a 7th and 8th grade softball team, and a buddy of mine was in 8th grade, lived right next door to me. So I always kind of would clown around with them, and I was in 5th grade, and sure enough, their short center fielder busted his leg, and he comes up to me, the coach of the 8th grade team, and he says, "Hey, listen, my next pick should be a 7th or even a 6th grader, but I'm going to go with you, a 5th grader." So I started playing short center field for the grammar school team. Little by little, I played a little bit in high school. Took about a couple of years off when I was in college, and then hooked up and played softball for teams like the Jackman part-time, the Wanderers. Started playing with Mike North. Started to get into with Mike at Merrimack Park. Started playing with Davey Rule. So got to play in all these parks with all these guys, and this is how it starts for me. Basically, then from about 82 to about 93 when I stopped playing, but just loved the whole aspect of the Forest Park and going out there, and Mount Prospect at the time. Mount Prospect had the leagues and everything. So stayed in touch with a lot of the guys, and I seemed like I was always with guys like, even like, if you guys remember Billy Finnegan and all those guys, the Colemans from the Meister Brown Taggers. So it was just my blood. Yeah.
Donnie was still in diapers when some of those guys played, but
yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But Donnie, go ahead, Donnie. Go ahead with your first question.
Definitely, John. Thank you for hopping on. I know you have kind of a media background as well. Kind of a play on words, that you have a podcast as well. It's called A Conversation With, if I'm not mistaken. So for today, go ahead. We're going to have a conversation with you. So go ahead and kind of talk about your kind of media background too.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Oh, yeah, you cut out for a sec. So just saying, maybe you give some background on your media background too, and the podcast and the show for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the media background. I went to Loyola University. I got a degree in broadcast journalism, and again, kind of dabbled around with a couple things before I got into my own podcast. Is the one that you mentioned. It's called The Conversation with Conenna, and I try to interview like a lot of authors, journalists here in the city. I've interviewed people like Chuck Gowdy, most of the newscasters here in the city that are on like at night. A lot of authors. A lot of ex-Chicago Blackhawks, because believe it or not, my true background is ice hockey. Coming out of Norwich, I played hockey my whole life. I the Illinois
coach
hockey.
A little.
But what happened was that Paul Rowan had approached Dave Rule to say, "Hey, do you know anybody that can we'd like to start doing podcasts at the Hall of Fame?" And Rule at that time says, "I know a good friend of mine who I play ball with. He might be willing to do it on Saturdays." And that's how I got involved with the Hall of Fame and Forest Park and everything else, and Paul Rowan and that board over there.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to ask you, just kind of piggybacking on that, who was your greatest feat in an interview? Who is the most proud person that you have interviewed in your day? It could be Hall of Fame related. It could be in the sports background related. Who was your favorite interview ever?
Well, I got to tell you, it was really kind of a surprise for me because I had met him about 40 years ago, well, now 50 years ago. We had sold an airline to my family has a travel agency on the Northwest side called Venus Travel. And we sold an airline ticket to one of the boys back in the day. And Chuck Gowdy came to our office because he was doing an investigative reporter on the Chicago mob and wanted to know how this one gentleman, the reason why I'm not using the name, I don't want my plate glass window to be shattered tomorrow. But so Gowdy came to our office and told us that, this was a man was a felon and wanted to know how the airline tickets were paid. And my sister at the time, and my older sister says, hey, we're not privy to give you that information because my dad was still alive at that time running this travel agency. So as the years went on, I kept in touch with Gowdy. And then about 7 months ago, Donnie, I really appreciate you asking this. I called on Gowdy. I go, do you remember me? He goes, sure, I did. White as a ghost when I came to your office to ask you that question about who this guy was that bought an airline ticket from you. And I'll give you a little more hint from Elmwood Park. And sure enough, I says, I would like you to come on my show. And he goes, let's do it. So I was like,
so cool.
Poor Donnie's time. I was like Jackie Gleason going, I'm gonna. I was nervous, but I'd have to say Gowdy's probably one of my,
cool.
that I really, was like wowed by. Yes.
That's pretty cool. It's considering I'm Italian too. That's it kind of fits.
Yeah, so am I.
Exactly.
So I want to just get to the people jumping in before we get to the next question. We have Big Mick in the house. I know you've interviewed Mick. It probably took you. We've interviewed Mick too. It was probably one of our longest shows that we've had. Right?
Really?
He told us every detail from the first inning to the seventh, but we love Mickey. Mickey's one of the best. Jake McTeague, welcome to the show. Tim Dalton, welcome. Our boy Randy Nelson, welcome to the show. Joel, Mike, and Mike's on here. Matt's on here. Welcome, guys, to the Uncle Jimmy, Cousin Donnie show, obviously sponsored by the Beacon Taps, Transportation Group, and Mom and Dad Water. Donnie hopped off really quick. He's checking something, but I want to get to my next question for you.
Sure.
We're talking about, who you interviewed from the good side. What was your worst interview that you've ever done at the Hall of Fame?
I guess that's a tough one, but
you got to be honest on this show.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes it's like pulling teeth. I'll do this. It's pulling teeth. It was early on. I think it was one of the teams, and it didn't go very smoothly. Like I would ask a question, it was like very monotone. I can't remember how the name of the team. I gotta be honest with you, but it was a concept. It was one of the early on ones, and I would be like, so how did you guys do in that one tournament? And the answer, instead of being like, we took 4 out of 3. We came from behind in game 2. It was like, good. Yeah. And I was like, oh, God, I don't know if I want to order or have these team interviews. I remember it was like I see the second or third one. But the team ones kind of scare me. Sometimes the managers of those teams, some of them maybe not have played, don't know the game like a Jimmy Moretti or Donnie. So
right.
A little weird. The manager of a team, especially when he walks in, he looks like he's 85 years old. I'm like, oh, oh God. But it helps that guys like Balestri in the background because then Mick's telling them, hey, remember that game? The pitcher was Hugo. It was a 3-2 count. And I'd have to say some of the team guys sometimes kind of scare me.
Yeah. So Donnie, I asked him while you were having trouble, who was the worst interview?
Yeah, I heard.
Sometimes a lot of the teams. So.
And I'm going to be honest with you here, Jimmy and Donnie. I don't want Paul Rowan to give me a pink slip tomorrow morning. You know what I mean?
There you go.
It's tough to interview that many people at once. It really is. That's hard to do. It really is.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel like a 4-on-1, Donnie.
Correct.
You're right.
Correct. Yeah.
So my question kind of relates with the Hall of Fame, and relates to kind of the, I guess you want to say, not necessarily drama, but kind of some of the stuff that goes back to couple years ago when Paul Rowan took over in the Hall of Fame, became the president of the Hall of Fame.
Right.
You've been now a part of the Hall of Fame for, I want to say it's been what, 2 years now, roughly?
Yeah, well, I'm starting year 3 right now, and I became a member last year. Yeah.
So in the 2 years since Paul Rowan has taken over at the Hall of Fame, I know we there's some issues and some things that have taken place, but what are some things that you're seeing that's good that's coming out of what he's trying to do in the background of basically of where the game's at? Because a lot of people will say, the game is dying, right? Or they'll say, people don't want to play like they used to 20 years ago, as much softball and so on. What is the rumblings behind the scenes at the Hall of Fame? I know, with the whole SSA thing and Geo and those guys, and then also just with the ASA, because I know some of those members were a part of the ASA stuff. And now with the ASA kind of, let's face it, Dave Padilla, by the way, I got a Dave Padilla story for you later, Donnie, too. But just kind of want to hear your background on, wrap it all together for me, if you don't mind. What's the future look like? What are some of the things that are going on? Are we going to see you guys be, some of the Hall of Fame people being a part of the game, be at some of these tournaments and so on? Are we going to be able to fix those relationships? What's your opinion on that?
And then coming in as a new guy, but I appreciate this question. I have to be honest. I want to talk about our president, Paul Rowan. I never saw someone so dedicated in regards to trying to get this thing back on track. And another board member that's there, I think it's Frank, and it's Frank Lentine. These guys constantly trying to, get to the parks, talk to the parks. And I think a week doesn't go by, Jimmy and Donnie, where Paul is not doing a meeting or setting up something like what we have to do to get the game back. Matter of fact,
right.
I interviewed a lady a couple of weeks ago. If you guys saw it or not, her name is Shelly Pica. And, Paul even there said, hey, we got to get this girls' game back on track. I don't know what has happened with the local parks, maybe as much as you guys know about the local parks, but yeah, the game, from when we were playing it when we were younger to now, I know a major change. Do we have to go to the schools? We had an event, I don't know if you guys were privy to it, about 5 months ago, where we had students from DePaul come to the game. He had the past president, Ron Kubicki, there to help us. So we had was wide open. Kavanaugh was there. We were all there promoting the game as best as we can. I think we could get back to him. My biggest fear, Jimmy and Donnie, is, we lose a Paul Rowan, I think, who was the right man for the right time right now. But my fear is the future of this situation. Who will replace a Paul Rowan? Do we have anybody in the future? It's almost like talking about the president of the United States right now. Whoever comes, who's going to come next, whether it be Democrat or Republican. So we won't go there. But yeah, the situation is, I have to say, in defense, not because I'm a board member, that Paul and the board is really, he is on top of this. And the biggest thing is get this back.
So what can the players? Yeah.
1 second, Don. Really quick. I just want to get to this point because Joey Carbs just put in the chat right now that he went to the Paul, scrimmage 16 in softball, one of their classes, and actually took exactly what I was going to ask you next, is that the curriculums in these high schools, in the PE classes, 16 in softball needs to be played. When I was in high school, we played 16 in softball in the PE classes. And now you're talking about 15 to 18-year-old kids playing it just in PE, right?
Right.
I think that's an eye-opener for us to catch on for the future. And then, of course, us promoting the game and doing what we're supposed to do to get those kids to play at the B, the A, and the major levels as they get older. So, I think Paul Rowland, Ron Kubicki, I saw that event. It was pretty cool what they were doing. And 100%, in order for us to get even a big-time corporate sponsor, we need to get into the schools in order to do those type of things. Bring those curriculums, bring those classes, have those days where we can actually share what our game is if we're truly looking to build for the future. But go ahead, Donnie. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. That was a great point, Jim. You're right. What I'm going to add to that and then ask, how can the current players get into the schools a little bit, and how can they expose the game to that age group a little bit more, other than having their own kids play and expand it that way? Because what we're saying right now is super important. I went to St. Patrick High School in the city. We played in gym once a month, if that. It wasn't really prevalent, but there are a lot of kids from Pats in that area that do play the game. How do we expose more people in that age demographic to softball?
I think as the players, do we go to these schools even? Okay, this is the off time. This is what we consider now the off time for this. I think it's important. Even, I got to be honest with you, the only thing that I'm upset about as being an early board member here with the 16-inch and what they're all trying to do is, I would like to see some of the past members, the guys who are in the hall. Sometimes I feel like guys that have gotten their just due, they're in the hall. You're on that wall of fame. You're on, all that. And all of a sudden, you don't see these guys for 20 years. But if you tell them there's a pizza and everything else over there to come, they're there. They're the first ones there. But to do what Donnie and what you are saying, we need them maybe to come back and say, hey, we're going to have this event at St. Pat's. We're going to have this event at one of the schools. We're going to have this the Loyola Ramblers, the DePaul Blue Teams. We need to step it up. Our board, personally, we probably need to work a little bit harder to make this happen, because I think that a lot has been thrown all in Paul's lap, and Paul's one guy.
So let me ask you this, John. You mentioned board. How many people are on the board in the Hall of Fame?
You know what? I want to say, if I'm correct in the numbers, I want to say there's about 9 to 11.
All right. So 9 to 11. 9 to 11 board members in the Hall of Fame. Do you guys actually vote, or is it like the SSA board?
Oh, you mean like for who goes into the hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do actually have a vote. Yeah, we do have a vote. Right.
So question for you then is, on that board, each one of those board members should take an individual, or whether you partner with somebody else, a topic for what you want to do for 16 in softball. So, for example, Paul Rowan's the president. He works on maybe getting sponsors. You and Mickey work on the program of trying to get into high schools. Lintine and somebody else works on whatever it may be, whatever topic of softball to help the game grow. So what I'm saying is that I think we have to take a different approach and not have, to your point, all one guy trying to do 14 different hats, right? So to be on a board, you actually, I'm on a board now, obviously outside the game of 16 in softball. That stuff, I don't get paid for that stuff. That is all, basically volunteer hours.
Right.
And I don't understand why people on a board, especially for softball, for someone that they love, can't dedicate maybe 20 hours a year towards doing something for the game. If not, then why are you on the board, or why are you part of? And I always say this, and I've said this because I love Pat Caputo, that, on the SSA side. I love Paul Rowan, who's on the Hall of Fame side. I don't understand why some of these people are on the board, and I don't understand why or what they do. When I go to SSA event, it's always the same three guys doing all the work. It's Tyler, it's Pat, and it's, for the most part, it's Gio, right? So, they do get a couple guys here and there, Matty Doze and some of the other guys, they'll stick around and help, that Ronnie guy.
Sure.
But I'm talking the majority of the work is done by those guys, and the same thing goes for the Hall of Fame. You guys are no different. It's 2 or 3 guys that do all the work, And we have Staples. We've kind of made a celebrity out of Staples a little bit on the show. He is a guy who handles the South Side of Chicago.
Okay.
He tries to run leagues and stuff over there, and he tries. I mean, I honestly see he does try. But outside of him, I couldn't tell you another person on the Hall of Fame board. And outside of what I mentioned on the SSA board, I couldn't tell you who the other board members are. And if we're representing the game of softball, to me, we should know as two major players here who's on the board, right?
Lafrano's on the board. Huh?
Yes,
Lafrano.
Jeremy is on the board.
Donnie and I, we're kicking this idea around. We want to start a players union, and so. But the problem what we've been talking about is really trying to, where do you start? How do you start, right? So do you call, and that's my next question, because you're on the board. How would you start a players union? Would you call the top players on each team, or would you call the coaches on each team? Or how would you do that? Because a players union is going to be a union that's going to stick up for the players if there needs to be change. Because when we ask now, there is no change in the game. Nothing changes. It's been the same bullshit for the last 10 years. So my question to you is what would you do as a board member in Donnie and I's shoes in order to get this players union started from a standpoint of having a voice?
You know what? I like the idea of the players union in the sense of, I think it should be just with players and not with coaches. I think that it should be more players. I mean, this happened. I mean, I've already dated myself here, but this happened in the late 50s with hockey, where in the late 50s, it was the players union that, broke open that game. I think this vote should be taken by, with the players amongst themselves. It could really open up our game. I want to go back to something you said, Jimmy, this way, like when you cannot, I put my application in because I wanted to be on the board because I'm still on a hockey here in Illinois. It's called AHI of Illinois. I didn't need another title. I really think I could help I'm pretty good with the advertising part of it. Like you said, someone does, but I don't want to go around saying, oh yeah, on the board, man. No. We got to work at this together. And I really do feel, I'm speaking for the 9 or 11 of us, we need to do this work a little harder and get out there a little bit more and really promote this game, because we don't want this continual slide. But I like the idea of the union, but I think it should be done amongst the players.
Off last time I think I had about 30 on that list somewhere in there, because right now, 11 just call it on the hall. The SSA, I mean, with a voice, right? So, and then you would say probably either, right?
John, John, is Jimmy cutting out on you a little bit?
Yeah, Jimmy is cutting out on me a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, Jimmy, your connection is freezing up just a little bit. So, okay, hop off really quick. John and I will talk shit about you until you come back.
Yeah,
perfect. Well, now that we've trimmed that guy out, this will be a great conversation with John Conenna. Let's get rid of that fella. But no, it really is a good chat about the board, and I would like to know more about what the Hall of Fame board has the capability of doing, and that not only voting on the people that get into the Hall of Fame, externally from that, what can we expect from the board on a year-to-year basis outside of the invitation to the Hall of Fame?
Well, and I really, Donnie, I got to be honest with you. This Hall of Fame thing, basically, to get the player in, it really only comes up, when the time is right to do it. I think the voting, what was it? Maybe about 4 months before, because July, there's the ceremony at Forest Park and everything else. I think we met like in May or June.
Yeah.
But promotion of getting the game back, let's get this game back in the parks. Let's get the women's game back on track. We we feel when we talk that, we're not dedicated like you and Jimmy in the sense of when we played the game. Like Mick Balestri, let's use Mick as the example. I mean, these guys were 7 days a week, probably 15 games a week. The guy of today, the millennial of frickin' today, he's going to go to the baby shower with his wife and skip the frickin', where we were like, I mean, if my wife told me I had a wedding on a Saturday night, I go, yeah, they're lucky if we're going to get an envelope. I'm not going to be there, So,
it's a different individual now that's playing softball.
Yes. And the mindset has changed. And of course, if I could hold up my phone, but we're using it as my camera tonight, I just think everybody wants to be on their phone. Everybody wants to do a quick thing. I mean, it is a shame to go past the park like an Oriole, a Marion, Merrimack. I played at Horn Park and, A-Leagues, not at the level you guys played. And they're empty on a Sunday. It's 90 degrees and you hear somebody say, oh, yeah, we canceled the game today because it was too hot. Too hot? I mean, we would cry back in the day if it rained,
So now that all the good looks is back on the show, you guys, I wanted just to finish my question to you where I was going with the board thing.
Yes.
Okay, so you got a Hall of Fame board, you got an SSA board, right? If we had a players board, do you think between those three boards, they would be able to work together at some point to make a product that we are seriously talking about going into schools or seriously talking about doing different things? And the reason why I say three works is because two, you're always going to have one more vote than something else on a topic, right? If the players want this, the SSA wants that, and the Hall of Fame wants this, you go with the two of the three votes, right? So my thing is that I haven't seen, and I'm going to be blunt with the Hall of Fame and SSA, I haven't seen a damn thing change in the last 10 years in softball other than the SSA start, and basically take over for the ASA, and do the same exact shit every single weekend, double elimination tournaments, and all the bullshit that we do. We don't bring anything new flavor. We don't bring any new events into the game. My question would be, is that you think something that would work if we're able to get Paul Rowan in a room, probably Pat Caputo in a room, maybe Donnie and whoever the president is of the players union in a room, and be able to make some serious changes, or are we just blowing smoke up our ass and it's never going to happen?
All right, I'm going to answer that question, but I'm going to two guys who are playing at major levels right now. Right. Donnie, here's the question. Do you think we have too many chiefs at those three things and not enough Indians? Can we have a leader and people that can work this out? I think we can, but can we come to this agreement in this day and age? There's a lot of egos going on here. You think that's one of the problems? Do you think there's a lot of ego?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, there's a lot of stubbornness. There's a lot of little kids games that are being played. You got people that I think are in it for the wrong reasons. They're in it to better themselves, not to better the game. Right. They're not dedicating. They're worried about just about bullshit and not necessarily the game or the players. Yeah, you could say that. Honestly, you could say that. I know Donnie. I know he, being a younger guy, he relates more to the guys in the 20s and early 20s, and even the late 20s. And I know when I talk with Donnie, and I know Donnie, you always say this, how do we relate to that age? That age right now is going to be playing this game 20 years from now, right?
Correct.
Until they get to the point where they're, maybe 47 and they're done. So, how do we do that, right? And I always ask Donnie, what are some of the things? But I don't think, when was the last time anyone from a board member of the SSA or a Hall of Fame or ASA has ever asked a player of Donnie's age of what they want to see in the game? I don't think it's ever been done. I don't know that.
It does. It probably doesn't come up a lot. And that's where really, I know, speaking for the Hall of Fame board, we need to work at it a little harder. And and I got to be honest with you, we are always asking who wants to be a board member, but for like what Jimmy Moretti's saying, for the right reasons. Not to hey, gonna get Jimmy Moretti in next year. He's going in the hall. Let's push for him. That's not what this is about. Jimmy Moretti wants to go in the hall. We get that, but that's not what this is about. We need to work. Even like when we did our banquet, we were delegated things to do. Okay, you got this, you got this, you got this, and there were nights sometimes where Paul would get frustrated with us and say, "Hey, I need help. I can't do this by myself." Let alone like Jimmy, what you brought up tonight and what Donnie's brought up.
Yeah. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, are these individuals that represent a higher title in it for the correct reason?
Right.
And should there be somebody younger in this with kind of a different mindset and how to relate to the younger audience?
You know what? Just Donnie, I like that. We need fresh ideas.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Count me in. Get Paul on the phone. I'm happy to obviously give any opinions on that. I speak to a lot of the younger audience in the game, and like I said, it's a different individual that plays now than it was before. Whereas softball isn't, priority number one, and that's fine for a lot of human beings. I'm not like that. I'm kind of a weirdo. Softball comes first, and which is a bad trait of mine. But what are you gonna do?
It's a shame the mindset has changed.
Correct.
Okay, like we talk about the era, like, hey, the guy who played in the 70s and the guy who played in can't compare eras. But even with something like this that Jimmy and you guys brought up tonight, it's changed. I really feel that era of the 80s, it was more of a dedication, and now we are not. We're losing instead of gaining, and I like this idea of what you said. If we can all get together.
So Donnie brings up a good point. What he just said, right? And it made me think. And look at the board members on the Hall of Fame and SSA, right? Look at them. What do they all have in common, with the exception of Jeremy?
Old.
They all played 20. Correct. They're all over 50. They played in the heyday when 16 softball was the popular thing to do.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're set in their old ways. So that makes me think. Huh?
And of course, I'm not afraid to say my age on here tonight. I'm 66 years old. Is that 46-year-old gonna be as dedicated? We need to find that mindset. Hey, listen, we knew that Biden and Trump, they're up in age. Okay, they're up in age. But again, I always say, we can't find a freaking 50-year-old president to run the United States. I mean, I'm just wondering. Do we have guys out there that want to take this on? Because it would be a big chore to take on. I mean, especially where we are at 2025 with the game. Do you think?
Right. Yeah.
No, Joey Carbs makes a good point. He says Mikey Marola's on the SSA board. He's a younger guy. He's probably the youngest in the group, but he's an old school type guy. He was raised with Patty Caputo and
softball.
Correct. Donnie. He was raised in it.
So he was raised with Pat, and that leads to my next question: is that are these board people true board members? Is there a legit vote to get on the board, or is it somebody? And I'm just using like Pat Caputo, or like a Paul Rowan, or even like a Dave Padilla, as we call them, Staples. Are those board members just electing board members that knowing that they're going to vote for them and what they say, almost like a guinea pig type of thing? Like, I know Matty Dozen, I know Ronnie, and a lot of those guys, they might not have a voice on the meeting. I'm just throwing this out there as an example, because I know some of those guys. I'm not saying that this is what's going on. Are those guys though really electing board members because they know they're going to agree with what they say, or are they truly going to be board members, meaning like they actually have an opinion?
Well, I can answer this question and use me as the example here tonight. The board members knew that I came from a hockey board. I ran a board here at Conenna High School because I was the varsity hockey coach for Conenna High School in Schaumburg for 12 years. I was the vice president of Metro Northwest. So they knew I played softball for all those years, but they knew my background was in hockey. So I think this board says, hey, let's take a chance on guy Conenna. When I put that application in, Jimmy, to be a board member, I thought, okay, this ain't going to happen. This ain't going to happen, because maybe I thought in the back of my mind too, he goes, okay, we know John, but we don't know John, like how we opened up the show tonight. So I think they went with my experience from the hockey, knowing that I was dedicated to try to make some changes and get some assets going for the future. So I'm hoping that the mindset, even if a young guy comes in from softball and says, hey, I want to get on here, I can be an impact player and an impact person on the board. Yes, I'm in total agreement with you guys, because we don't want this to get old and crusty.
Right. So one thing that I want to bring up, and I want to mention this, is I want every 16-inch game next year that is played at the major level, A level, and B level to have used Game Changer. I want to get rid of the scorebook, and I want to have Game Changer. And I want every team to be a part of Game Changer and every game to be live streamed. You don't need a voice. You can have a phone, a camera behind home plate, just like they do at every single travel tournament in America. Okay? They all do it. They do it at 8U. They do it at 9U. How they can figure it out, but unfortunately us as adults in a major 16-inch softball, A level, B level, not use the same program that's completely free for us to use. And everything is on volume. And I'm just saying, because now as a player, if I want to go and watch softball, there is numerous games of how we can grow not only the B, the A, and the major. And you can go watch if I'm playing Signature tomorrow, I can go back and watch Signature if I pay to use that type of service. Right. You don't have to pay to use Game Changer. You can see your team all the time. You only see the live feeds of the other one unless you pay for it. So, but in the meantime, it's there. What is your thoughts on that? Because I know we have certain people in the game that you can't live stream on the field. You can't do this. You can't do that. I want to throw that out there because I've heard it on the ASA. I've heard it on the SSA side. What's your thoughts on that, being a Hall of Fame guy?
Jimmy, I love it, because I'll tell you, I came from the hockey side, and they use a thing, which I think what you're saying was called Live Barn. And the game has only grown. I mean, travel in the state of Illinois is over the frickin' rainbow, I think, because of it. So I love your idea. I don't know if you noticed, there are rinks going up all over Illinois, and the Hawks are not even doing good. Okay, they're playing a little bit better this year, but for the last 3 years since their cup runs, the city of Chicago was on fire. But this is a good promotion by you. We could do this. This would really, really increase the game. I mean, I'm going to go back to the thing with Cashel and North on Sunday nights. I had 2 little kids. I was glued to the TV watching this stuff. It was a promotion. Wow, man. Look at this. Who's Bill Finnegan? Who's this guy? Who's that guy? You were fixated to the game. You wanted to form a team. You wanted to be out there. So, yes, Jimmy, I love it. I love it. It could be one of the hugest promotions in our game.
Donnie, go ahead, my man. Go to your next question.
Apologies. My fiance locked herself out of our home, so I needed to let her back in.
Oh, I thought you left.
How dare? How rude. Yeah. No, that's Jimmy. I was kind of listening in and hearing about the Game Changer and how we can move the game in the next direction technology wise, because that's going to be super important. That's the way that everything is going right now, right? Everything is moving towards AI. Everything is AI generated now. I mean, you can do anything. So it's good to hear that there's a plan to potentially make the game more technology based. My next question was going to head back to kind of the interviews and things that you do at the Hall of Fame? I know we're kind of talking about growing the game right now, and I want to talk about, what you do for the Hall of Fame, and I think it's a huge part of it. Who's somebody that you haven't interviewed yet that you really want to?
The guy that I really want to interview is Israel Sanchez.
Okay, well that. This guy can help you.
Yeah, he played at the professional level of that and played the game. Just unbelievable. I want to, that is something that, one guy that I would like to just get kind of inside of his head.
Yeah.
Now, let's go to my interviews. Again, I'd like to see these interviews. I don't know how much your show is getting view-wise. And I know it's a very popular show. I have followed it. But I would like, am I off my gourd to say, hey, I wish our thing on Saturday got 5,000 views? But
sure. How can we do that? How can we grow the interviews? What can the players do?
Right. What can the players do? What Jimmy just brought up with this, the streams, the players to promote it. It's got to be a constant. I think it really has to be a motion. The thing about the Saturday thing, it's on a small scale. Okay, it's hitting the Facebook. It's hitting, I'll send interviews after they're done to Southside the softball, ASA. I send it to the Iowa guys. I send it. But again, it's a collective thing of people that are watching it. And, my son asked me the other day, and my son's 38 years old. He goes, Dad, he goes, this 16-inch softball, does anybody play it anymore? He goes, you mean to tell me there's a Hall of Fame for the city? And when that came from my son, I thought he was, digging me a little bit, give me a dig. But he never played softball, and he saw me go play this game, but there wasn't, to go to go anything else. We need a constant. I think we're doing things on a part-time level.
Yeah. And we, on our show on this page, we usually average 35 to about 4,000 views per show on Facebook. When we first started, we were in the 1,200 to 1,800 range. Now, every show we post is 3,500 to 4,000 on the average for views. That's not counting what we get on YouTube, which I know our YouTube, Donnie's not as much. We only got like 185.
It's like 50 per show.
Yeah. On YouTube, we're not, but we don't push YouTube as much as we push Facebook, right? So to your point, and then also Twitch, I get the numbers on Twitch after the show. It's anywhere from 60 to 100 people sometimes watching live or have tuned into the show. Doesn't mean they watch the whole thing. So that's kind of where we're at on the average, and our numbers are upticking. We just Donnie, how long have our page been open? Since October of 23. October, so not even two. Well, no, over 2 years,
About 2 years. Yeah, we just hit 5,000 followers. Yeah.
Yeah. So on Facebook, we just hit 5,000 followers, and we're seeing that number grow. We're almost at 5,100 already. So we've grown almost 100 followers in the last week. But Donnie and I don't look at it as our followers. We look at it as the game followers, right? Because we've had all players on our page. We've had all people on our page. I tell people all the time, if they want to live stream a softball game, they could use our platform as long as they're respectful to anybody across the Chicagoland area. I don't care who it is, right? We have sponsors, right, that give us money for the show. Not big money, but enough for us to. We want to upgrade some of our equipment. We want to do some mics and some other things for this upcoming year. And I've already been talking with them about that, so I think they're on board. We're going to probably do some shows in person in 2026. I know Donnie's schedule is tough. He works. He's got no kids. He's got a lot of things on his plate. So
a busy guy.
We got to work around Donnie's schedule. But once we work around his schedule, we'll be able to do some of those things. And I think to your point, go ahead, Donnie.
No. What I was going to say is how we can start that off. I'm looking at, the Hall of Fame YouTube channel, and the videos don't get a ton of views on the YouTube channel. But then I go over to your page, and you've got the following. You've got 400 subscribers on YouTube. You can share those with us too, and we can post them to our page. We can share the wealth with that. I think that's. Go ahead.
No, I said I want to do that with you guys. That would be fantastic. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a way that the players can help spread the word of what you're doing, and we can try and build the brand even more.
And here's the thing too. Like we have a gentleman at the hall that puts these on for me. It's I think it's Timmy Dalton. Timmy Dalton. I mean, Tim is always thinking of ideas to promote those interviews and everything else. But yeah, I mean, I want to see it one day where it's like, hey, like you go to a YouTube page of this. Who's the greatest podcaster in the world? Joe. What's his name? I forget the guy.
Like Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. But I mean, best thing in the world. I wrote him an email once, and I says, Joe, news and everything else. Took 4 months to get back to me, but he did write me a form letter, and he says, John, interview Donnie. If it's interesting, interview Donnie. Don't get hooked up and thinking that you got to do. Everybody's got to be Chuck Gowdy or everybody's got to be, a Jeremy Ronan interview. Your mind is wrong. If Donnie's got a great story to tell you, interview Donnie. And people will watch it. And sure enough, I did interview some plain Janers, and I got more views than I did the Ronick interview and the Gowdy interview.
Hey.
Right.
We thought the same thing tonight, John, when we asked you to come on the
show. Thank you, Jim. Jim, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I felt like a plain Janer for a second, but you made me feel better.
All right, very good.
Jimmy, I knew Jimmy was going to sting me here sooner or later.
He's
Donnie,
got to. I won't. Go ahead.
Yeah. Donnie, is there anything you have left to ask him before I get to my last question?
No. Honestly, it was we kind of covered everything just through natural conversation. How about this one, John? Let me give you one more.
Yeah.
Give me your number one travel tip for the winter for a 16-inch softball player.
A number? Oh, like where to go?
Yeah. I did my research on you, John. I know you do travel. I know you do travel tips.
Good. So where would you? Are you married?
I have a fiance. Yes. Engaged.
Yes. Take her somewhere. You want the travel tip?
Yeah. Hit me.
Okay, I take her to Cabo San Lucas.
You're paying for that.
Just all inclusive, on the beach. Don't be cheap.
Beautiful.
Ocean view.
Don't be cheap.
Hey, Cabo is Americanized like you've never seen, boy. I haven't been there since they got that big hurricane, but I'm assuming they've definitely replaced things by now.
Oh yeah, and the ultimate destination would be Aruba because it never rains in Aruba. It never gets affected. So I mean,
there you go.
That's your honeymoon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had to let you know that I did some digging and just found out, before we go into this that I'm researching. Jimmy, go ahead with your last question.
So, John, I know you say you're a big fan of Donnie on the show, and that's why you watch Donnie, for his looks, not for his playing ability, but for his looks.
Thank you.
We've talked a lot about different things in game tonight, right? We talked a lot about, unions. We've talked a lot about boards, some shit that doesn't make sense to me. But I want to know if you were able to do one thing in softball to make the game better, either change what's currently have now or bring something in that's never been done before, what would you do?
You know what? Like I said, I brought it up during this interview tonight, and I really appreciate this. Was really spontaneous for me. I mean, I didn't know what you guys were going to ask me. I was talking to some family members today and some friends because they always say, "Hey, you got a horseshoe up your what?" But I got to tell you this. That's a great question, Jimmy. I want to go back to the Oriole parks that I played in, the Merrimacs. I want to go back to those parks and ask if there are there park directors left where I can say, "Hey, how do we start to form these leagues again from the ground up?" It's a ball and a freaking bat. And I can see the passion that you guys have for it. If this is me and what I want to do, I want to go back to these parks and start it all over again.
So what would you do then? What would be the first thing you do you go to those parks? What are you going to tell them? Because my thing is don't you think that those parks are trying to run leagues and they can't get enough teams? So what are you going to do differently?
I think what I would do differently is I would love to go to it. I would forget about the high school. It starts in grammar school. That's how it started for me. I want to go to that elementary school. Hey, we're going to have a junior high team and a 5th and 6th grade team. That's how it started for me. Do we go back to these grammar schools? The thing back in my day, and it probably was in your day too, because it's not that far off, was, hey man, they're playing. I know where my kid's at. He's playing softball. I know where my kid's at. He's playing hockey. I know where my kid's at. He's at a gym shooting hoops. But I really think it starts early. I mean, I was shocked when DePaul came that day, and these guys were looking at this 16-inch like it was a watermelon from Caputo's.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, what? I mean, it's a 16-inch ball. Like, it was a cantaloupe. Did we get off? How did we get off the track of this game? That's where I want to go back and show the simplicity of this game and how it turns out to be a game of strategy and everything else. But we need, when I say that, not go out there once a year. You go to different schools. Hey, we want to promote our game of 16-inch softball. We want to have clinics. If they like it or not, if somebody likes it, they will come.
So you bring up great points, and you mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to leave you with this.
Yes.
You mentioned about Hall of Fame people not showing up. You put a pizza out, then boom, everyone's there. But you also mentioned that, like, when you're in the Hall of Fame, you don't see some of these guys for 20 years. Can they make and I'm not saying people are going to abide by it, but can they make some type of rule that if you do get in the Hall of Fame, you have to do something for the game over the course of 3 or 4 years, whatever that time is? And what I mean is if you're on the Wall of Fame, you're in the Hall of Fame, you're doing something in the community or something that's promoting 16-inch softball with some type of confirmation that you did it. Now, all I'm saying is that this way you're in the Hall of Fame, you're giving back, right? When they have Hall of Fame dinners, you don't see a majority of those people that are in the Hall of Fame at those dinners. But when people, the major leagues and other people, you see a lot of the old Hall of Fame people at those things, right? So that's my thing is, like, is there something we can do that the Hall of Fame can say, go to all the members that are inducted in the Hall of Fame and say, listen, either you donate maybe $10 or you do X, Y, and Z to get an exemption out of it, right? I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, has that ever been talked about at the Hall of Fame?
Jimmy, not directly, but the way you put it tonight, we know as Hall of Famers, I mean, we know as board members what we have to do without the year. I mean, we can't sit there. Paul has made that clear. But what you said tonight, is something that would be the easiest thing to do, because like I said, I know you do see them at tournaments sometimes. When we had the thing in July, when we had the inductees out there at Fort Worth, I saw a lot of them. But I got to be honest with you, it would be the easiest thing to do. And like you said, we'll use the word a national donation or something would be, we turn this thing around quicker than. You brought up two things tonight that I love. The thing with the streaming will promote our game like no other, and this put like a rule in place. Hey, Hall of Famers, we need your support. We need help. Have a guy like a Mike Tallow come out and show how a kid pitched and how he revolutionized that position. Do you think I'm off the thing with that? This guy was one of the greatest pitchers ever. Okay,
right.
I mean, show, hey, because I've talked to kids now. He goes, "Oh, this is an easy game." Easy game. I mean, you couldn't get a hit off Tallow. I was grounding the ball back to Tallow all the time. So this is something that could be very important. These old timers that are in there show the game at a different level. Anybody that's in the hall.
Well, because you mentioned Game Changer, right? I brought that up to you.
Yes.
Every game needs to be on Game Changer. Every team needs to have a Game Changer app. Every K. And then what you do, the spin off of that is, we have Gio, who's the maniac who goes park to park to park to park. He wouldn't have to do that so much, but what he could do is like what he does now, which would be like the game of the week. Okay. Where now, yes, every game's on Game Changer, but Geo has like the prime time, like what NFL does, the 7:20 start on Sunday night. He would be able to do that at every park, and then what Geo can do is bring people in to interview to literally do the game with him. Guys like Steve Cashel, guys that are old timers, maybe like a Jeff Berger, like a Bobby Ross, guys like that still are around the game, that know the game. I wouldn't do other players just because I think there's too much conflict with that. But I would say guys that have retired. Matty Dozen, right? I know he coaches, but Matty Dozen's really good too. Things like that. Donnie's good on the mic, right? So, but Donnie's playing, but that's my thought behind it.
I want to bring this up to Paul. I want to announce the games at Forest Park this year. I would love to do something like that and do it on a stream. This was my forte. This is what I went to school for. Not only the interviews, but this is something that I will bring up because tonight was invigorating for me to know this because this is what I'd like to do.
Well, and our guy at Fifth Third, our guy at Forest Park, who does the
Adam Cumby.
Okay,
Adam, he also could be a part of this, right?
Yeah,
and Adam does an incredible job. So, he doesn't play in a team, but we have to work together with this. It can't be just you can't stream, you can't do this. We need to all do it. And we talk about promoting the girls' game, right? We talked about that earlier.
Sure.
This is a way we promote the girls' game. Yes, you might not have announcers on the Game Changer stuff. That's okay. The game of the week will, right? So,
right.
Go ahead.
It would be a huge promotion like no other. And like Donnie says, we need to get a little bit more modern here.
Yeah.
Technology's not going away. AI is the internet of the 1985 when the internet came out. We have to face the fact that this is here forever now.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we got a couple minutes here left before we let you go, John. But this is the part of the show where we ask you if you have any questions for Donnie and I. So go ahead, my man, and shoot. If you have any questions for Donnie and I that you'd like to ask us, we got a couple minutes left here before we get to our top 10 center fielders.
I like to ask you guys a question. The combination is great of the two of you. I love it. I did not know that this was going to be the questioning tonight. I thought it was going to be more career-based, but I loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But I want to ask the question. You guys feed off each other very well. It's almost like a line in hockey, the center to the winger. What do you guys see yourselves improve? This show is great. What do you guys see yourself improving the show in the future? What else do you guys want to see yourselves do? Because this is fantastic.
Yeah,
go ahead, Donnie.
A lot of it has to do with live streaming, I think, John.
Yeah.
And I've got a background in media. I want to do a lot more live streaming. Something that we talked about with trying to get the game back at a national level TV-wise. The ESPN would be the end goal, right? Because they have wiffle ball and they have cornhole and they have tag on ESPN 8, the Ocho, whatever the hell. Why not have an hour slot for softball per week or every 2 weeks? That's the end goal with it. As far as the show goes, just continuing to have people come on here and have a voice for their opinion for the game, if that makes sense, right? Come on here and say, hey, I have something I want to talk about. We've never denied anybody for an interview. We've never, ever denied someone that said, hey, I want to come on and talk about this 100%. During the winter months, there's no softball, still have an opportunity to do a show and talk about softball and keep the content very relevant. I think those are the two directions I would like to go in. Give people a platform to talk about, their views on it and their passion for it, and then try to grow into potentially having this game on TV one day. I know that's a stretch, but that's why we do it. And a side note, I looked it up. Hall of Famers actively give back to the Hall of Fame through fundraisers, participating in activities, attending events, and serving as guest instructors. And this is the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame. So just trying to give back through, once you get in, it's not just, hey, I get in, I'll never see you again, or till you put a pizza out. It's, here's how we can give back to the Hall of Fame year over year. So just wanted to bring that up too. But go ahead.
That's fantastic. I mean, I interviewed Ferguson Jenkins, and Fergie told me, And Fergie lost 3 wives to death in his lifetime, and the guy's still giving back to the game. I mean, he wrote a book years ago about the '69 Cubs with George Castle, and I said, Fergie, what makes you keep doing? He goes, I'm going to give back to something that man gave me.
There you go.
Frickin' life. So that was beautiful what you said. I got to Jimmy, this is a fantastic setup with Donnie. What else do you want to see yourself? Because I love this, and you guys caught me off guard in a good way.
I think there's 2 things that come to mind. You know, people ask me, why do you do this? You know, yeah, we have fun with it, but I think it's more of a platform to really kind of leave the game, when I do leave it someday, better than what I got into it is. And I know right now that maybe that's not the case, because, you know, the game is just different from when I got into it to this today now. There's some good, some great, and then there's some, you know, some bad, right? So, but I look at it as I want to do like what Donnie said. I want to get the game on a national TV. I want to be able to get just to get something on there where we can get a corporate sponsor to come on board with 16 in softball and give us a chance. That is my goal for the game of softball, to work a corporate sponsor, $1 billion organization, something that would be willing to donate or maybe do something where we can develop a program in those lower income areas, and that works all the way up to the major level of 16 in softball. And I think that if we can present it correctly to a corporate organization, especially the way it is today, if we're able to provide a program that does give back to some lower income areas, you know how our world works. Utilize that, grow the game in those areas. To your point, you only need a bat and a ball. Equipment's very cheap. So, you know, we can develop it that way. Now, to the point of the show, I think I do the show for a couple reasons. One, obviously to grow the game, right? And where I want to see the show go, I want to see the show eventually at some point. I want to get it to about 100,000 followers. And if we can get it above 100,000 followers, we're getting the game out to people all over the country, right? You know, there's a lot of things that, as the players, and to what Donnie said, we make this a platform for the players. We make this a platform for people to come on here and talk about everything that we like to do about the game. And I think, to me, that's why we do what we do, to try to basically give people a platform to just voice an opinion, where sometimes I feel like before we started this show, there wasn't many opinions. We didn't hear what the best players in the game thought. Okay.
Right.
No.
You did it.
Sure.
You did. You just did it. And now this platform has created that because of the best players in the game, not because of Donnie and I. They've created it because, you know, it keeps enhancing. I mean, it's funny because now when somebody wins a tournament, and Donnie always jokes about this, everyone knows that the MVP of that tournament, or somebody that played great in that tournament from a winning team, is going to be on our show.
Yep.
Right. And so it's funny because I hear it a lot, like, oh, dude, I get to be on the Uncle Jimmy and Cousin Donnie show. And it's like, I mean, it's cool, right? But we want to grow it bigger, right? And I think that's where mine is, and doing different things. You know, Donnie and I, we've done hot dog reviews. I've been all over Donnie, like, dude, we got to get out there and get that done. We were getting a ton of publicity from that thing, a ton, right? Which helps the game, okay? Doing different shit helps the game. It doesn't have to always be about softball, but if we can generate people in to our page, they're going to see the game. They're going to see the best players. They're going to see, you know, the people that are care about it. I did a stupid, like, Donnie, what did we dressed as two idiots at the Hall of Fame in Iowa. We did
Iowa, yeah, we wore jumpsuits.
We wanted to draw attention to the Iowa game, you know, doing something different, just something, right? You know, my kids challenged me to throw a football over my house. I did that, put it on our page. We got 1,000 views on. 10,000 views. Like, it doesn't have to be softball related, and that's why I want the players of the game to understand that too. Like, it's important.
Aggression, and I'll look tonight. I mean, Jimmy, you lie to me. You say, "Hey, John, you're going to be on for 20 minutes, and then we're going to go talk about center fielders or whatever you guys are going to talk about." I think, what are we here, an hour already? But this,
yeah, we're about 45 minutes.
This was a great conversation tonight, and I hope that I was a great guest for you guys tonight. You let me talk, and you guys did what you had to do, and I really, really, truly appreciate this. And you guys are coming on our show. I want you guys out the hall after the holidays. Maybe we can get you guys on in December, but this was very good. And the experience that you guys both have, this is why this show does so well. And I thank you for having me on.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, John. Thank you again for joining our show. And we will be at the Hall of Fame where the roles will be reversed. So,
okay,
John, thank you. John, thanks for hopping on the show. It's great to get your opinion on this a little bit more, and we'd love to return the favor and hop on and talk softball with you and your platform. And then going forward, we'd love to share your show on our page as well.
For sure, we're going to do that. We're going to get that all set up and get this done. Right. Sure. All right.
Have a happy. Thank you. Very good, man. I like him right to the point. Joey Carbs, really quick. He says, when I mentioned about other stuff, he said the Birdman content, and he's right. Birdman got over 2 million views to our page, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
And that helps. I mean, it brings attention around the game, and that's why it's like it doesn't always have to be about 16 in softball. You know that, right? I mean, it could be about other things. But yes, if we're live streaming on our page, we're gonna have more viewers watching our game, trying to figure out what that is. So, very good interview with John. I don't know what was your thoughts before we get to the top.
Excellent interview with John. I mean, he is a professional media, personality. He's got a great mind for speaking and talking about how he feels, and he gave us an insight as to how the Hall of Fame board members are really kind of trying to be invested in growing the game. Brandon Alvarado, what's going on, my guy? Good to see you in the comments. But yeah, kind of moving forward now, we can talk about what could cause some controversy within the softball field and the softball game. We're going to talk about who we consider as the top 10 center fielders in the game.
Yep. So I'm going to start with my honorable mention.
Yeah.
Okay. My honorable mention, and I'm going with these players. The way I looked at this and built this list was they're either really, really good defensively, or maybe, you know what I mean, or they're really, really good hitting. Okay. And I kind of took and I merged the two. So some of these guys might not be the greatest hitters, but they're phenomenal defensively, or they're a player that I feel has improved drastically over the last 5 years. Okay. So
really quick, before you get into yours, I will say I just based mine off of defense.
Okay. So,
go ahead.
And honestly, most of my players are very good, right? They're very good. I need more to defense than I did offensively.
Yeah. Right.
But my honorable mention, and I even consider this because when he did play, okay, my opinion, he was a top probably 3 guy in the game, and that's Marty Dozen.
Yeah. When he's around, Marty's a game changer.
All right. And my second honorable mention is Donnie Sullivan from Hex. Donnie's a guy I think that is improved drastically defensively. And obviously a couple years ago, maybe he was still at the B and the A level. He was on Hex, didn't have the, was on Hex, went and played with Sauce, I believe, at the B-A level.
Yep.
Became better defensively. And now, from what I've seen of him, especially last year, he goes and gets it. Now, offensively, he might not be a major hitter, but I wanted to throw him out there because I think he's been one of the more improved defensive guys I've seen, where maybe not a couple years ago wasn't the greatest, and now went back, improved his game, and now has become a very good defensive center fielder. So go ahead with your
I have I have Donnie Sullivan in my top 10 center fielders. At one point for Sauce, he was forced to play shortstop, and then they realized probably too short to play shortstop, so they threw him back out in center field and hasn't moved from center field since. He's elite defensively. I have an honorable mention, but can easily be a top 10 shortstop or a center fielder right now. I just want to see where he plays positionally next year. It's Veli from the Pharaohs. So Veli is brand new to the game, super young kid, raw kid. Played center field for them last year. I know him and Hobson may flip flop in left field. Hobson was on my honorable mentions for left fielder. I would like to see Veli take a step up this year and become a top 10 center fielder if he's not already. And then I have another kid who is really, really, really talented. I'd like to see the commitment a little bit more again out of him, and that's Nick Wind from Iron. Catches everything in his vicinity. He's slowly becoming a better hitter, but I want to see him really focus and be the best version of himself on the soft because he is unbelievably talented. Yep. So those are the two honorable mentions.
Yeah. So my number 10 is J-Boy from F-Town in Iowa.
Okay. I like that.
I know he doesn't play without a glove. I get it, but I think this year he will. Every time I've seen J-Boy with the glove, I think he's been lights out defensively. Okay.
J-Boy.
Offensively, he has his moments where he is either, a 2 for 3, 3 for 3, or he's over. He's hot or cold what I've seen of him offensively, but defensively, he goes and gets it. He's fast. So
sure.
J-Boy for my number 10. Who do you got at number 10?
So I didn't list from like kind of best to worst. This is kind of a general top 10 for me. The first name I've got there is Jake Lenty from Whale.
Okay.
He was with Circus when they won No Glove. Jake is quick, leadoff hitter, very, very good defensively, and has a very strong arm.
Okay. Number 9 for me is Alex Brewer.
Oh, Anthony Brewer.
Yeah, I had him as Alex. I thought his name was Alex. It's Anthony? Okay, I'll change it. He's good, though. I call him Brewer, great. So I get his name.
Yeah.
Center fielder. He goes and gets the ball. Very good.
And he's like 50.
Yeah, no, I know.
He's
he up
is.
There. But, dude,
he hits, man.
He hits.
Brew is a great softball player.
That's why he made my top 10.
Brew is a great softball player. I had him as well. But he also was another ML, played some professional baseball before playing softball. Yep. I have Cha-Cha from High Y on my list. Cha-Cha is probably the fastest person I've ever seen in my life. And he will track balls down in the outfield.
Yep. So number 8 for me is Drew Chavarria. So Drew came in, obviously had a great year 2 years ago when he was on Moneyline. This year went to Meatball City, did not have, maybe to his standards, a great year. I didn't see him too much from what I heard. But defensively, he goes and gets it.
Yep, he plays really, really hard.
He does. And he's a young, athletic kid that can fly. So he comes in at number 8 for me. Who do you got?
Yep. I had Donnie Sullivan, so I'll move with my list here. I mentioned him and him. The next name I've got for you is Brandon Molina from Fat Kids, who is excellent defensively. And congrats on the baby. He just had a kid, him and Izzy, so that's huge for them. Congrats to them. But he is as good as it gets in center field. Cannon of an arm. Just kind of, going with the top guys, hitting-wise, he probably falls underneath in that bottom category, but defensively as good as anybody.
Number 7 for me, I had Cha-Cha.
Okay.
So Cha-Cha made my top 10. I had him at number 7. He goes and gets it, dude.
He does.
What else can you say? So
yeah,
he just goes and gets it. He could fly. Number 6 for me, I had Jake Lenty. So really improved his game. Was it like you said on Circus, now in Whale? Extremely improvement tremendously over the last 5 years from when he originally started. Right. So and I also took that into consideration. Where they were if I met them or have seen them play 5 years ago, and also compared to what they've done now, and he's a kid that I think is tremendously improved
Very, very
from
good.
where he's. Yeah. So
Agreed.
go ahead for you.
I have our guy from Signature, Dave Navarro, who makes the really, really, really difficult plays look easy sometimes, and then the really, really easy plays look hard. But he is a gamer. Dave plays as hard as anybody. He puts a lot of stuff to the side to make a lot of games, and is growing to be one of the top players in softball, not just center fielders. His hitting, his speed, he's had stuff that you really can't teach. He's excellent defensively as well. So Dave is my guy, and I'm happy to have him on the list.
So number 5 for me, and I think he's probably going to be the best player, center fielder in the game, probably by the end of next year, and that's Tommy Coates. He has every tool. He's big, he's strong, he's fast.
Best in the game.
Lightning fast. Flash picking him up is gonna, and it's funny because when I look at my number 1, okay, and I'll get there later.
Yeah.
I think that Tommy is going to be, and I just couldn't put him any higher because he hasn't played at the major level yet, right?
Yeah.
But his tools and what I've seen of him, and him running and throwing and hitting and power and everything that goes with him, he is going to be, I think, one of a very, very good major softball player.
Yep.
Now I don't know how he's going to handle. I don't know how he's going to handle playing against the major guys all the time when he's used to being the big thing on the on the field, the big dog on the field.
Yeah.
Now he's got guys that he's playing against all the time that can do what he does, or are very good at something that maybe he's not used to seeing all the time. So we'll see how he, moves over, but he's extremely talented.
Yep, I agree. I don't have Tommy on my list because I haven't seen him play a ton, and he hasn't, been at the major level where I've gotten some exposure to him. He's a great kid, and he is a beast. So I don't see a world where he's not in the top 3 or 4 next year. The next guy I have on my list is probably one of the most underrated softball players in the game. Worldly talented, can play on any major team he wants. Decided to be very loyal to his team growing from the A to the major level, and it's Joey Kutnick, who I think is an elite softball player, and like I said, probably got calls from every single major team this year to play with them. So Kutnick is a beast and is very, very, he's just going to get better, which is so cool about Joey. He's a really, really good kid.
So number 4 for me, and this is for his defense and his offense. I feel like he has his moments where he swings hard, and that's Chucky from the who was on 45s, is now on 30-38s.
Yep.
He made some catches that reminds me a little bit of Nicky Marchese when I was on Flash. Catches were balls that you're like, there's no chance he's going to catch that, and he does, right?
Yeah.
And Chucky's not the fastest guy in the world. I don't think he's got elite speed, but he's fast. And boy, he gets some of the best jumps a center fielder gets on the game, and like I said, defensively, he's a top 3 guy. I just think that, him and this year, I think he's going to drastically improve, right, as a hitter. He had his moments where he's really, really good, but this year with 30-38s, I highly doubt he'll ever get pitch hit for. I think he's going to be swinging all the time. He's going to have a great year with them.
I agree. When he can get an opportunity to get 60, 100 at-bats over a year, Chucky will improve with the bat. But he's on my list as well, who I haven't answered yet. He's top 4, 3 in the game for me as well. So Chucky he's a gamer, man. He plays really, really hard, and I've seen him catch some balls that not many guys get to. And also made a huge play for you guys at Major Nationals. Rob Manns of a homer, and it was an unbelievable catch.
Caught it barehanded.
Seal the game.
He turned the wrong way and caught it barehanded.
Yep. Took the glove off. So
yes.
So I'll mention Chuck in my list. I'll go to the next guy. It's actually the Flash center fielder now, technically, and it's Justin Smykowski, who is, again, just the most talented human being ever. The dedication level, if he's there all the time, there's very, very few people that are better on the field than him.
Yep. So number 3 for me is Levi from Chucks.
Yep.
What he showed me last year, power-wise, speed-wise, and honestly, even at Forest Park, going and running balls down without a glove, barehanded. I mean, the kid, and even at major nationals, he's different, right? I mean, he obviously got drafted. He was, drafted in the major leagues and everything else. And so I just think that he might be number 1 in the next couple of years.
It's really scary that he's only been playing softball for like 3 years.
Yeah, he has the potential to be number 1, and obviously Chucks are excited to have him on his on their team. But for me right now, I got him at number 3. He's kind of what Tommy is: power, speed, everything. So go ahead. What do you got for number 3?
I think I again, like, not in order, but I named all the guys I wrote down on this piece of paper, but except for one guy who was.
Right. Well, I mentioned before you get to your last guy.
Number 2. I had Levi at 2. Sorry, I had Levi at 2, and then my number 1.
All right, so number 2 for me is Justin. I put Justin at number 2 because of commitment.
Sure.
If he was there and played all the time, he'd be that much better. Like what he did a couple of years ago when he showed up all the time. He was the best center fielder in softball. He, once again ran stuff down, very similar to some of these other guys. And that's why I had him at number 2. So I heard Justin might be moving to the infield this year, possibly first base and some other things. So we'll see how that goes for sure. But Justin's still a guy that, we'll find out if he shows up. So,
but number one is Brian Koronkowski.
Yeah, I got Chippy at number 1.
Yeah,
I put Chippy at number 1 for center field. That's where he's played the last couple of years. I also had him at top 3 or top 4 in left field. When I played with him in left field, he was probably the best left fielder. Over the last couple of years, I've seen him more in center field because of the way Circus lineup played out. I think he'll be back in left this year, though, with Sherwin leaving. He's probably going to go back left for Circus. But yeah, Chippy, I would say, would be number 1, through this year.
For sure. When he's there, best player on the field a lot of the times. If he is 100% dedicated and invested, I mean, he's an auto hit and most of the time an auto double. And
he's not a pitcher. I saw that at the last tournament I played.
He's not a what?
He's not a pitcher, though.
Well, yeah, that's okay. He's the best center fielder probably, so he doesn't have to do much more than that. But it's fun to watch him play the game. He hits
when he's motivated, for sure.
Correct. And he talked shit about us for not putting him in the left field category, so we had to make sure that he was in the center field category. So we got to make sure that we please our guy. That's my guy. I got to make sure that he's happy. But
I didn't put him. I didn't put him in my top 10 to please him. He knows that. Trust me. I almost took him out of the top 10 because he sent a message to us. But outside of that, no. I mean, that's the reason why we had him in center field. To your point, but it's based on what we have. So I know that people are going to be texting us about our top 10 list. But we'll take this top 10 list, the left field top 10 list. We're at 20 players now. We're not putting
with honorable mentions by about 25, but yeah.
So, but either way, we're on our pace. So next time we're back on the show, we'll talk about right field. But Manny Sanchez brings up a good point. The Turkey Bowl is this Thursday. I saw the rosters when Donnie, you'll be there. Are you going to try to live stream some games?
Yeah, I will try to get out there with the live stream. I know it's going to be 20 degrees, and it might be freezing cold, so I may not. But our team is run by Steve-O Rodriguez and Pops, so we've got a great leadership on him.
Would it being so cold?
I don't know. I don't think so. We never have before. That would be tough.
They might want to consider it with 20 degrees.
I agree. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a good event. But yeah, that's all.
So yeah, but if you could live stream some games, bring a pair of gloves so you can, and a tripod so you can hold your hands don't get cold holding the tripod.
I'm gonna freeze. Oh.
I know you're gonna freeze. I'm gonna be bowling at that time. Unfortunately, I do a family bowler, day with Josh and Timmy. So I'll be out there doing that with our families, and then I got family dinner at 3:00. So Donnie, good show tonight, my man. Appreciate you guys all watching the Uncle Jimmy Cousin Donnie show. Appreciate all the guests out there. A ton of comments, ton of people following. I've seen a ton of shares go out. So thank you guys. Definitely appreciate that. Donnie, anything else you want to say before we go?
So I will see you guys soon. Good luck to our team in the Turkey Bowl, and we'll talk very soon. Thank you guys.
And let me know who the MVP is, because he'll be on our show next time. So thanks, Donnie. Appreciate it.
Later.
Thank you so much, guys.